I often wonder what planet some of these politicians inhabit, to say nothing about some of their media disciples. The Treasurer last night said of his budget, and I quote, "It delivers on the priorities of the Australian people and it repays their faith in a new government." Jim Chalmers, you've got to be kidding. He said the budget had been framed around three priorities: offering some cost of living support, building a more resilient, modern economy, and beginning the task of budget repair. It is being factual, not unkind, to say that he failed on all three counts. Budget repair? I don't know what his definition of repair is. The budget deficit will go from 37 billion this year to 44 billion next year and to 51 billion the year after, 2024-25. That is spending 51 billion more than you have. I talked about national net debt yesterday. That will go from 572 billion this year to 702 billion in 2024-25. That's an increase of 23%. Is this delivering on the priorities of the Australian people? The interest on our debt, according to last night's budget papers, goes from 13.6 billion to 19.4 billion in 2024-25. That's an increase of about 43% in 2 years. Is this repaying the voters' faith in a new government? Plenty of wokeism too. It's a well-being budget, and there are well-being indicators. Well, look, if you want it to be a well-being budget, this is in serious need of a defibrillator. The Treasurer talked about hard decisions to be made, but he didn't make any. The budget was full of pessimism and negativism at a time when optimism could have been generated by saying simply, we will cut spending and we'll do it in a responsible way. Or do we just say, well, folks, this year we're going to collect about $607 billion, personal company tax, $260 billion, GST, $82 billion, tax on your super, $12 billion, company tax, $127 billion, but we're going to spend $650 billion, $43 billion more than we have in the kitty. Now, if a family ran its household like this, they'd be out the door with no one to help them. Jim Chalmers is good on the rhetoric, quote, "In the world we're in, with growing social need and tightening fiscal constraints, there's a call for all of us to develop more creative solutions," unquote. Well, dead right. But where are the tightening fiscal constraints? Fiscal, that's spending. When you're spending $43 billion more than you get in. And then what about the election promises? What was that Labor message before the election? Everything's going up except your wages. And quote, "Only Labor has a plan to get wages moving," unquote. Did you notice as Dr. Chalmers was delivering his budget speech, there wasn't a smile on a single face behind him? Populist promises made at the election to win votes have been blown up. Well, there will be cheaper childcare down the track, but if you're piling debt on debt, should someone on $530,000 be getting any sort of taxpayer-funded childcare? The so-called marquee election commitment will cost $4.7 billion over 4 years.